Welcome to Conscious Conversations. I'm Leslie.
And I'm Terry.
Today we're going to be talking about ways to appreciate others. I'm going to start this Conscious Conversations with a quote by Miranda Kerr. The quote is, "I think for any relationship to be successful, there needs to be loving communication, appreciation, and understanding." What do you think about this quote, Terry?
It's a very powerful quote. And appreciation is right in there with, loving and understanding and communication. Appreciating others, it makes them feel valued and, cared for.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's really important to talk about appreciation, what it means, how appreciation makes people feel, and then also how the lack of appreciation makes people feel. So, Terry, how can we show, let's say, a significant other that we appreciate them? How can we show them appreciation?
Well, we can show them, in many ways. We can show them with our words. We can say directly, "I appreciate you. I appreciate you making that beautiful meal. I appreciate you, going shopping. I appreciate, just numerous things we can say with our words, or maybe even writing a thank you card, just like a little note, just saying, "I appreciate all the things that you do for us."
Yes.
For the relationship. And then actions we can do, maybe make a special meal, or take someone out and have a nice friendly walk. So there's a lot of different ways we can show appreciation.
Yes, for example, like earlier today when I was trying to iron some clothes, but I got a little busy with making us lunch, you stepped in without me even asking and ironed my my top and my dress for me. I really appreciated that.
You're welcome. Especially if a person doesn't really enjoy doing it, and if you go in there and step in there and take action, it makes the person, it takes that stress off them on doing something that they necessarily don't like.
Yeah, and the intuition is really nice too when somebody uses their intuition and puts the pieces of the puzzle together and then just kind of figures out what needs to be done without somebody necessarily having to tell them. So it was really nice when I was finishing up lunch and you stepped in and helped me finish my clothes without me even asking. Well, I wasn't going to ask, but I'm really grateful that you did it.
You're welcome. I'm glad it's that made you feel good, and it feels good to me when another person appreciates like a kind gesture.
Yeah. So earlier you were telling me about the story of one of your teachers.
Yeah, in high school I had a great life science teacher. And I love the fact that he would talk to the students. Not talk down to them, but he talked to us like he really cared about us. And he would listen to what we had to share. And it just inspired me to want to do my very best in his class. And I felt confident. Just, I would read the book and I would pay attention, I would ask questions. Why? Because he cared about us and we felt appreciated.
Yeah.
And I think, appreciation can go, it could take you a long way.
I agree.
Yeah.
When you appreciate someone, it makes them feel valued and respected and cherished. I mean, I can think of so many times when I felt valued and respected and cherished because of just a thank you from someone. I mean, I know when I make dinner or I make a meal or something like that, when you say thank you, it makes me feel valued, like I've done something of value and it's being appreciated for the effort it took.
Yes, that's so true. Or hearing positive words say from our boss. Like, "Good job, thank you for doing an excellent job with that report today."
Yeah, it's really great. We spend so much time at work, and so when we do hard work and when we make a lot of effort, even when we become adults, not when we're just kids do we want to hear, oh, good job, or, thank you for picking up this or that. Even when we become adults, we still are looking for that validation and being, the feeling of being valued. And at work, it's really great when we do a hard job, difficult job, or especially, I'm a teacher. When I hear some words of appreciation, like last week, my boss, I put a lot of effort into my board. I put the schedule on the board. This is what we're supposed to do. We're just supposed to do quick bullet points, but I actually take the time to do like a step-by-step lesson plan. I do a word of the day, I do a question of the day, and then I also have the students alternating, taking turns coming up to the board and writing down certain things. And my boss came in the room, said hi to the students, noticed my board, and just said a quick, "That's really great board work." And even though it wasn't like a long, drawn out thank you and appreciation, I was still acknowledged.
And how did that make you feel when you heard that?
Yeah, I felt acknowledged. I felt like I was acknowledged and that I was noticed and that I was valued. My work and effort was being valued by him.
I think that's so important, in the workforce, because employees need to feel appreciated. The more they're appreciated, the better that they will take care of the customers or the students. If you're a teacher,
Yeah.
you just want to go out of your way to make a difference. But if you don't feel you're appreciated, it may hinder your performance.
Exactly. I mean, I remember I used to have this one student. She used to take pictures of my board every class. She would always take pictures of the schedule. And that would make me feel respected. It would make me feel good, like somebody noticed that I put a lot of time and effort. And so she'd take a picture so she could go back to it later, and so she could study. But now that student's not there anymore, and so nobody's taking a picture of the board. So I noticed that lack of somebody taking the photo of the board and really appreciating it and saying, "Teacher, thank you so much for your time and effort," because that's what she would say. Mm-hmm. But when the boss came in, she hasn't been there for about a month, but when the boss came in and said, "Good board work," it just kind of... it just felt good to hear that again, that somebody noticed all of the effort that I put into my work.
Yeah, because you take time out of your day to prepare something, and for someone to acknowledge that, it shows you they're recognizing the hard work you put in. Yeah,
it's really good. Jobs are hard. All jobs are pretty tough, especially because you're taken away if you're not living your purpose at your job. The job takes you away from what you'd rather be doing. So when you don't get appreciated, or when somebody doesn't appreciate you, like in the form of a raise or a pat on the back or high five or saying, "Oh, you did a good job," or "You helped increase our sales numbers," or whatever it is, or "You helped this student go from level 1 to level 2 in a month," whatever it is, if you don't get that, it can really make you feel undervalued and though your time is being not well spent.
Yes, and sometimes we don't feel appreciated too when we feel like we're not treated fairly. That could be in the workplace, or say an example, you have one employee that is always coming in late to work, or always calling out sick, doesn't do their share of the workload. And say, for example, the boss doesn't acknowledge that. So you start to feel, like I know from personal experience, I started feeling like not appreciated because there was never any consequences for that bad behavior. And here I am showing up on time, working hard, hardly ever calling out sick. I just want to be noticed, acknowledged, like, thanks for coming in, thanks for being punctual and dependable.
Yeah, I think that sometimes our bosses, or if it's not really a good director, if it's not really a good boss, a good manager, they won't realize the value in being detail oriented, being punctual, being reliable and then kind of going above and beyond your job duties every day. I mean, some people, a bad manager, I believe a bad manager would think everybody should do that. Well, not everybody should do that, but everybody's supposed to do that. Yeah, we should be doing that, but the truth is all of us don't have good character. So all of us won't do that. That's why we have job interviews, because if we thought everybody was going to do a good job, we wouldn't have to have an interview.
Yeah.
Right? All we'd have to do is look at if they had experience or not, and then just hire them because everybody had good character. But that's not the case. And so I think it's when our bosses overlook us, that just kind of shows that they're not really that great of a boss. And also, it makes maybe an employee want to go elsewhere.
Yes, that's true. There's a relationship that takes place when you work at a job. You're providing a service, and with the service, you expect to be acknowledged and appreciated for that service.
Yes. So I think we're touching on it right now. What are the effects of not showing appreciation? And one of the effects are, like we said, in the workplace, if a boss doesn't say, "Hey, you did a great job this week. You met all your numbers, you met all your goals, you've been punctual, and you did that extra thing because somebody called out sick. Great job. You really helped the company. We appreciate everything you've done and you are doing, and we really would like to see more of this out of you." I mean, that can go, even though you're not giving them a raise. Mm-hmm. I mean, just that can give people the breath or the air that they need to just keep chugging on, even if it's not that good of a job.
Yeah, if the smart employer realize, even if it's not a good job, but if they appreciate their employees, they'll work harder than they should, or just than the average person. And
they'll probably stick around longer.
Yes.
They won't be so quick to put in their 2 weeks or not put in their 2 weeks at all and just leave. But so the effects of not showing appreciation could be perhaps adapting a lackadaisical attitude. Perhaps what else? Resentment.
Yeah, resentment.
So I know some people might not think it's a big deal. For example, I think it's a big deal if I cook or something like this. If I cook, if somebody doesn't say thank you for the meal, I feel hurt because I've put so much effort into something. I've used my time. I've used my creativity and my efforts to make that thing as delicious as I knew how to make it at the time. And so when I make something and somebody doesn't say thank you, or somebody just doesn't remember to say thank you, it makes me feel not respected and unappreciated, actually.
Well, it makes sense, especially you work hard, you pour your heart into something, and you spend a lot of time on something. Yeah, it makes sense that you want to be acknowledged for that and appreciated.
What about like in the classroom when you're a student? If a teacher doesn't say, "Hey, great job on this assignment, class," or something like this, what is your motivation? Well, besides the A or B that you get, what is the motivation? If the teacher doesn't say, "Great job, I see you improving," what if what if he or she doesn't really say anything?
I think you just develop a "I don't care" attitude.
Yeah.
I know that from personal experience. I struggled with school. And if I, you feel like, what's the point? It's like nobody seems to care.
Yeah.
But when a teacher takes the time and saying, I know this is a struggle for you, but I see this improvement you're making over the last couple months. You're making some great improvement. Keep that up.
Yes.
If you have any feel free to come talk to me after class. I'll be glad to give you some pointers to help you out.
Yes. And I know, personally as a teacher, I know that you're one teacher to perhaps 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 plus students. and it's just one of you. So sometimes it's hard to make sure everybody feels acknowledged. But it's really, really important for us to make sure that everybody is seen and heard as much as possible. I do like teaching smaller classes because I can give everybody a lot of attention. But when we have these big classes, like 30 classes, it's important to make sure we appreciate our students, appreciate them for raising their hands. Like if they raise their hand, oh, thank you for volunteering. Just I don't know, just little things. Because when I was in school, I feel like I was overlooked a lot, and it made me feel I didn't feel motivated. I was just an average student. I mean, I finished with a 3.0 in high school. I mean, I didn't try hard, and I didn't really feel like a lot of my teachers really noticed me. I think I was one of those students that was just kind of an average student, so I wasn't really acknowledged very much.
So if we can go back in time, what would you want your teachers to say to you? I mean,
well, I would want them to notice me. Hey, Leslie, how are you doing with this assignment? Are you enjoying the class? Do you like this activity? I mean, just anything, because I wasn't really noticed at all.
does it feel like you're invisible?
Well, I think it's when you're not like a really bad student, or you're not really struggling, and then you're not really excelling more than everybody else. It's easy, like in public school, to get lost in the shuffle.
Yes.
And so I believe I was lost in the shuffle.
And I think, it makes sense as a teacher, perhaps every day you start the class and just say, I would just want to say I appreciate you all.
Well, you know what I do? I like to say to each student, good morning, so-and-so. Good morning. I'll take out, while I'm reading the roll, I will actually take the time to verbally acknowledge all of my students. There was a class that I had recently. I'm an ESL teacher to international students, and I was recently teaching a class of 30, teaching a level 6, so their English was a high level. And there were so many students, there was 30 of them. There were so many of them that instead of just calling out each person's name one by one, I would just stand in front of the class and just greet the students, like, Sophia, hello Sophia, it's great to see you today. And then I would go to the next student and I would just say something like this to each student. And then I would actually memorize who was in the class, and everybody would be acknowledged. And if I skipped over someone, the students would say, oh, you missed this person. So then I could go back and say something to them. And that would kind of, if I missed them initially, it would just let me know that I kind of need to be like more aware of that person, because some people actually do kind of blend in. And they were just really quiet. So it was great for me to call out each of their names, because everybody was acknowledged, even if they weren't the type to really volunteer during the class and participate. At least I spoke to them at least once during the class, even though there was 30 students. And then I would sit down and put in the students in the attendance.
Yeah, the acknowledgement is like very powerful, because not only you're saying I see you, you exist, I respect you. You're important.
Exactly, and they're all important. And just like our jobs, even if you're not a teacher, if you're a janitor or a clerk or salesperson or cashier or whatever, or a manager, whatever you do, we all know the value of a good job. Whether you're a mom or a dad, we all know that we all want to hear. We all at some point want to hear, you're doing a good job.
Exactly. And I just brought up another, I remember a pharmacist, it was a floating pharmacist who would come in. He would always say to us, he's all, thank you for coming in today. And I thought, not much of it. But, thinking about it, that's very nice words, because I could have easily just called out sick, or I could just not shown up, or come into work late or whatever. But, he just wanted to say, I appreciate you for coming in today. And It's very, very powerful.
Like I said, when we have a good manager, it really does kind of brighten up the atmosphere. The director I have now, he greets everybody by name, all the students too. I think there's 200. I think there might be 200 students there at the school, at the small private school that I work at, and everybody that comes through the door, he's just like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And he'll, give somebody a high five or a fist pump it takes. You can tell it takes a lot of effort to do this, but everybody's happy.
Yeah,
You can see the students are happy to come to the school.
Positive ripple, and it just raises the energy, the vibration of the room, just with that positive appreciation and just the positive energy you bring into it.
And the students look happy. I think it's one of the best campuses that this company has, and it's probably because of that director.
Yes.
The director really is, or the manager really is like the head.
Yeah, it's like sort of like they set the tone of the environment. If they come in there just with a negative attitude and just non-appreciative, it just affects the morale.
Yes.
Affects the teachers, and then that in turn is going to affect the students. So everything just affects, everything's connected.
Yes. I think that we should start to close. So let's talk about 3 positive points of appreciation and then 3 negative points of not showing appreciation. So showing appreciation helps people feel valued, respected, and cherished. And when we don't show appreciation, people can feel lack of motivation, resentment,
and just feeling like just uncaring, just the feeling like I'm not cared.
Yes, like they don't matter.
Yeah.
So let's work on appreciation, some kind of appreciation every day. There's always something to be appreciative towards or grateful for, right? I think gratitude is a synonym of appreciation, correct?
Yes.
So there's always something to be appreciative of or grateful for. And so I think that would be a great daily practice to have for anybody.
Exactly. I think we have doing a gratitude journal or appreciation journal is so powerful and so important that we could look at all the things in our life that we're grateful for or we appreciate.
That's a great point, Terry. An appreciation journal or a gratitude journal.
And
there's always something to be grateful for.
And I think for the people that are in our lives, it's important to tell them every day, something that you appreciate about them.
Yes.
And then and for ourselves as well, because sometimes we can be our worst critic.
Yes, you're exactly right. And we can also give appreciation to our bodies for functioning properly, right?
Exactly.
Because how like you get sick and then it just feels devastating. You can't get out of bed sometimes, and you can't eat or you can't keep anything down. And then finally, if you're lucky enough and start feeling better, you're just so appreciative, or at least I've felt like this way. I've just been so appreciative, a newfound appreciation for my health.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way too. It's like when you're sick and it's like you're miserable, but the moment you feel well again, it just feels like it's a beautiful blessing. You just go, I've taken my health for granted.
Yes.
And I need to appreciate my healthy body.
Yes, because some days some days are just bad, but if we're still breathing and if we can function, if our body's still functioning and we feel reasonably healthy, that's just a blessing and a miracle in itself.
And I want to touch on this. This just came to my mind. The importance of appreciation. I believe it can also help us lift us out of our gloom. They say we're having a bad day, we're feeling down. I think it's important to just go on the things that we appreciate about ourselves. Because maybe we beat ourselves up about something. And just say something. Maybe if for me, for example, maybe I screw up on something, and then I might say something like, "Oh, Terry, you're being stupid," or whatever. You know, so a way to turn it around would say, I appreciate the hard work. Hard work pays off. I appreciate persistence. I appreciate looking for new ways to doing things. So it's just trying to find these words kind words that we can say to ourselves to lift ourselves up out of the gloom.
Yes, I think that's a great tip, Terry.
And I'd like to share a quote before we end this. Being told you're appreciated is one of the simplest and most uplifting things you can hear. And this is by Sue Fitzmaurice.
Thank you. That's a nice quote, Terry. It's
welcome.
it's great to feel appreciated. Yes, it makes it easier to keep going.
It does, and this touches on your director, just lifting people up with their positive energy and appreciation.
Yes, thank you, Terry.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
that beautiful quote. And everyone, we're going to close out this recording today. Thank you so much for listening to Conscious Conversations, Ways to Appreciate Others. Until next time, bye.
Bye.